In this video, we're going to talk about group effects and how those can be used to make your show change sizes as well as help you program multiple groups at one time. So to get started, we have the Chauvet demo show loaded up here. I'm going to move a few things around so we can see them a little better. I'm just going to move a couple groups down here. And we're going to work primarily with the spots for this example. So we'll move down our spots left, spots right, and our all spots group. So we have them all right here, easy to see. What a group effect is, it's an effect that is applied based off of the selection of a group or multiple groups, and it will adapt to changes within the number of fixtures or the ordering of that group. Should your rig change size or your fixtures get rearranged, you can also use them to program multiple positions or subgroups or groups of fixtures at once to mimic the same effect across multiple groups as though they were their own selections. So adding a group effect is really easy. You grab a set of fixtures. Up top here, when you're in the group window, you have add effect and add group effect, or if you hit the effects button, it's also the same two buttons. We'll say add group effect. And we will put a position, and we'll choose just a simple circle. Now, by default, you'll see that the effect is applied to the group as though all of those fixtures in that group are one fixture. They're all doing the exact same thing. You have a field in the effects spreadsheet here called group spread. Here's where we can choose how that effect is applied to those fixtures in that group. We can choose to make it all channels, which is going to treat it like a normal effect, but still maintain the ability to expand and contract the group based on the number of fixtures in the group, which we'll look at a little bit later. And we can do it within the group, which is going to allow that effect to run through the group. If I go to a clean page here and I record this effect, we'll come back to a little bit later. And we're going to call this single group. That's simple. It programs just like any other effect. There's nothing too fancy about it. Now, where it gets interesting when you're programming is if we were to come in here and grab two separate groups. So we have our stage left spots and our stage right spots. If we do the same thing and we add a group effect, and we go to position and then circle, you'll see that the two groups now are treated as what would essentially be two separate fixtures if this were a normal effect across those fixtures. And again, we have our group spread field here. This time, if we choose within group, it's kind of hard to see there, but if we were to do something like center in and center out, we'll size it down a little bit so we can see it a little bit easier. You'll see that now it's applying the effect to each group as though it were its own selection of fixtures. Rather than running the circle in, center out across all of those fixtures, you can see that they're running left and right. So we can record this, and we'll call this two groups. This might be a little bit more obvious if we were to do it with a intensity effect. So if we again grabbed our stage left spots and our stage right spots, we added a group effect, went to intensity and chose a dimmer chase, you'll see here that the effect is running as though there was only two fixtures in the effect. If we choose all channels, it'll run across all channels just as though it were a normal effect. And if we chose within groups, you'll see it's essentially running left and right as though they were their own effects. And again, all of the settings here apply. So if we wanted to turn the crossfade down, if we wanted to change the spread, if we wanted to do center in and center out, you'll see that that applies to those groups. We'll record this just to see the effect that it's going to have. When we start changing our groups around, we'll call this two group chase. Now that's the programming half of a group effect. It's really cool to be able to grab multiple trusses and multiple sets of fixtures. It doesn't have to be the same number of fixtures per group. if we were to do the same thing that we just did with different fixtures. If we grab our washes and our spots, so we have 6 fixtures and 12 fixtures, and again we add an effect, we'll just do the intensity effect again. It'll ask us right off if we'd like to use these in groups. We say yes. You see, now it's treating each group as a step, so one group is all of our spots, one group is all of our washes. If we were to change this to within group, we'll turn the crossfade down again just so we can see it a little bit more. You'll see that the effect is tracing across the rig in the selection order like they were the exact same effect, even though there's twice as many lights in the spots. And again, things like center in and center out will then apply. This is great for creating banding effects across your rig if you wanted full color wipes across your rig, or an intensity chase like this where the whole rig activates at once. You grab each segment or each part of your rig as its own group and then add the group effect to it. It'll do the math for you and figure out how to keep those in sync. So pretty cool stuff. The other advantage to group effects is their ability to change and adapt to what's going on. So as an example, here we have our group effect with our 12 spots, just a single group. We just use this one group here. If I was to come in here and subtract from this group, say the first 2 and the last 2 lights. So we'll come in here, we'll skip the first one, skip the second one, and we'll go through here and go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we skip the last 2, 111 and 112. We skip the first 2, 101 and 102. And now if I were to record and press this group, it's going to update this group with 8 fixtures in it. You can see that from up here in the corner, it says 8. Now something interesting is going to happen to our effects. When I bring up our single effect, one thing you may notice is the first 2 lights and the last 2 lights aren't moving. They've been removed from that effect, and this effect has adapted. The same thing goes for our 2 group effect. If we were to change this group here, say our stage right spots, and change that group completely, we would then again be changing what happens. So this time let's grab our washes, hit record, and record over our stage right spots. Now we'll have to give those some intensity, and we'll give our spots some intensity as well. And this time we'll turn on our circle effect here for the 2 group circle effect. Remember, we built this using spot stage left and spot stage right. You'll see because we overrode spot stage right with our washes, our 2 group effect now applies to our washes and our stage left spots. And you notice our stage rights are no longer moving. They're no longer part of that group. This can be seen again if we clear out here and we bring up our 2 group chase. You see that it's reapplied that effect to our washes rather than our stage right truss of spots. This is really helpful when you're dealing with rigs that change, or you're touring and you're morphing and changing the size of your rig to fit a venue from day to day. Programming with group effects can make it very easy to adapt your show to a larger or smaller rig, or a changing hanging position, or even a change in fixture types if you program using group effects over normal effects. Hope you found this useful. As always, you can find us at www.camsasliding.com.